comprising thousands of islands with tropical forests, active volcanoes, and spices found nowhere else on Earth. Indonesia was an emerald fairy tale in the middle of the ocean. Unique spices like cloves and nutmeg had captivated the dreams of merchants for centuries. However, in the early 17th century, the Dutch arriving on merchant ships came to darken the fate of these islands. This was the story of a company transforming into a state, exploiting a nation with an iron fist for 350 years, followed by an epic struggle for liberation. The Dutch East India Company, VOC, stepped into Indonesian waters in 1602 to seize the trade monopoly in Asia. Initially a commercial venture, this structure soon established a private army and began conquering the islands by military force. Pitting local kingdoms against each other to completely control the spice trade, the Dutch burned villages and established a vertical system of exploitation. Operating like a state, the company enslaved millions of people. The Dutch greed for monopoly led to inhumane atrocities. In 1621, in the Banda Islands, known for nutmeg production, the indigenous population opposing trade rules was almost entirely massacred or exiled by VOC Governor Jan Pieter Zoon Cohen. Dutch plantation owners and slaves replaced the native population. This brutality was the first and bloodiest proof of the absolute dominion the colonizer would establish on the islands. With the bankruptcy of the VOC in the 19th century, the islands were directly annexed by the Dutch state. The Dutch introduced a compulsory cultivation system known as the cultivation system, cultuestelsel. Indonesian peasants were forced to grow export crops, coffee, tea, sugarcane, for Dutch markets on 1/5 of their land. This system led to massive famines and inhumane misery that caused millions to starve to death. The largest military resistance against Dutch exploitation took place between 1825 and 1830, with the Java War, led by Prince Diponegoro. Calling the people to a holy resistance against the colonizers, Prince Diponegoro inflicted heavy losses on the Dutch army. However, as a result of treacherous Dutch traps and superior military strength, the rebellion was suppressed, and Prince Diponegoro was captured. The war cost 200,000 lives for the Indonesian people, but sowed the seeds of national consciousness. In the early 20th century, young Indonesians educated in the Western style began launching political movements against colonial rule. Sukarno emerged as the pioneer of this movement, uniting the people around the philosophy of Pandaksila, 5 principles. With the Youth Pledge of 1928, the ideal of one homeland, one nation, one language, Indonesia, was embraced. The Indonesian people were now united to end colonial rule. During World War II, Japan defeated the Netherlands and occupied Indonesia. The Dutch colonial administration fled in disarray. Although the Japanese were initially welcomed as liberators, they soon established a much harsher regime of oppression. However, the Japanese occupation also provided Indonesians with military training and the opportunity to determine their own destiny. Seizing the opportunity immediately after the withdrawal of defeated Japan, Sukarno and Muhammad Hatta declared Indonesia's independence on August 17, 1945. The Netherlands showed no intention of giving up its colony easily and returned with British support to reoccupy the islands. Armed with sticks and old rifles, the Indonesian people waged a bloody 4-year war of independence, 1945 to 1949, against the modernly equipped Dutch army. Thousands of Indonesians lost their lives in epic resistances like the Battle of Surabaya. The country was economically devastated, but the people refused to give up freedom. Facing international pressure and the unbreakable resistance of the local people, the Netherlands realized it could not win militarily. Through the Hague Roundtable Conference at the end of 1949, the Netherlands was forced to officially recognize Indonesia's sovereignty. The Dutch flag, which had exploited the islands for centuries, was lowered and replaced by the red and white independent Indonesian flag. With the Declaration of Independence, thousands of islands turned into places of celebration. People poured into the streets, celebrating as if forgetting the pain of the colonial years. Sukarno went down in history as the first president of independent Indonesia. The 350-year-old dark shackle was finally broken, and the Emerald Islands belonged to their own children. The story of Indonesia proved how the cruelty initiated by a company turned state could be defeated by the faith of a nation. But who were those mysterious guerrillas fighting in the forests against British colonialism in the wild nature of Africa? In our next video, we will witness the Momo Rebellion and freedom struggle of Kenya. Stay tuned.